Welcome one and all to another Overrated review. I am your reviewer slash host, Bradley Overrated, and today we are playing and reviewing Night Terrors. Now, if you want to know more about this game, let me just tell you that Night Terrors is basically Flappy Bird on crack. And that is not a joke. That is honestly the best depiction that I could possibly give to explain what this game is. And before we jump into the gameplay, let me just point out that there are 5 modes. I did unlock them all, and me being me, I don't want to spoil what the last mode is, because you gotta earn it if you want to do that. Seriously. Normally you can actually run in this game and jump up and down, but Flight Terrors and K-Type, especially K-Type, you get your Flappy Bird experience, so let's just show you what this game's all about. And as you can see, you play as this lonely knight who is traversing the world, has to jump up and down and swing his sword, kill a bunch of enemies that are commonly found. They can be ghosts, they can be zombies, they can be some weird floating head thingamajigger thingamabobbers. And as you can see on the screen, there is that aspect of Flappy Bird. Now in some of the other modes, you have to flap the entire time and shoot a Flappy Bird and avoid the spikes. The interesting thing about this game is if you notice up on the top left, you have a health bar. If you get hit 3 times, you're out. But, though, and this is what really interests me about this game, is on the top right. If you don't kill the enemies and they go past you, you get a strike. It's like baseball, and if you get 3 strikes, you're out, baby, and your knight gets decapitated for basically no good reason other than he sucks at killing all the monsters. It keeps the game really entertaining because you essentially have to throw yourself in front of the peril while at the same time avoiding the spikes and traps. Now, the whole point in this game isn't to get to the end of the level. As a matter of fact, as you can see on the very top in the middle, there's this thing called the progress meter. After you kill a certain number of enemies, you will essentially go on to the next level, and you'll be able to continue to accumulate points. The main objective of this game is to get the high score. You know, back in the old traditional days when you played in the arcades and played Pac-Man and stuff, Donkey Kong or any of those other ones, this game's very similar to that. Your goal and objective is simply to get the high score and to essentially have bragging rights among your friends. And you know what? It works really well in that category. I should also mention that, as you can see on the screen, there are certain power-ups that you can acquire as you play the game, and you'll unlock more as you progress through each of the different types of gameplays you can experience. It's pretty cool. It's not fully fleshed out though. I do wish there was a little bit more variety in what you did in the game. For the most part though, you're just running or flapping your way for as long as you can, killing everything in sight. And for each successful hit you manage without getting hit yourself, your combo multiplier will increase. As you can see, you can hit 500, next hit so you get 600 points, the next hit will be 700 points, and so forth. So there's a good reason you want to, do really well, because the better the multiplier, the more points. And the more points, the higher score, and the more bragging rights you can possibly achieve, and yay! So what are some of the negatives, you're probably wondering? Well, one of the negatives is no matter how much you enjoyed this game, there's only so much of it that you can play. Whether or not you like it, all 5 modes are basically the same thing. They all have the same system where they get harder. The enemies don't really appear in a different order. It's a little bit tedious. I don't want to say repetitive because the game's only a couple of dollars, I believe, on the Nintendo Switch, which is the platform that I played this on. So, you get what you pay for, if that makes any sense. You're not going to be blown away by the graphics, although, the art style does once again take you back to the good old days. So if you're into the 8-bit stuff, you kind of have a nice little treat here. It's more like 16-bit, well, whatever. I'm not that technical. And yeah, it's a fun game. It's simple. It is honestly one of the best games you can play, and please don't take this in a crude manner when I say this, but if you're on the toilet taking care of your business, then this is a really fun game to play during that time. And it sounds nasty, but it's true. Come on, you use your Nintendo Switch while on the toilet. That's really the whole point of Nintendo Switch and the Wii U, right? No, I'm kidding. But yeah, you get what you paid for, and I have no problems recommending this game. It's published by Nicholas, who, by the way, They have some awesome games published out on the Nintendo Switch. This is probably the worst, and even though this is probably the worst one I've played so far, it's still fun. It's really fun to try and just get a high score and to, you know, beat your personal best, or to, if you have a few friends, to try to see who can get the best score. There's some fun to be had, but like I said, you do the same thing over and over and over again, and there's not any variation in the monsters. Once you've seen them, you'll see them time and time again. And once you get the hang of the game, you know, it doesn't really throw you any curves, except in each mode it basically ups the ante and makes it more difficult. So alright guys, let's give Night Terrors a letter grade, and for those of you that don't know, I give these grades because I feel like it. That's a good enough reason. A being the best, F being the worst, and I give Night Terrors, all things considered, a C+. And like I said, I enjoyed the game though. I do recommend it if you have $2 to $4 to spend. Give this game a shot if you see it and it looks interesting. It's really not terrible, but it's nothing special at the same time, so the C+ it gets. Alright guys, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. I am Bradley Overrated. I hope you enjoyed this. If you didn't though, good for you. I don't care that much. I pretend like I care. But yeah, leave a like, leave a dislike, subscribe, don't subscribe, do whatever you want. This has been part of my Horrorfest. I'm out like a trout. See you guys next time.